everyone, it's Erica. Welcome back to Maniacal Reader. Today I'm doing the New York Times book tag. I saw this tag floating around on BookTube. This tag was originally created by Marie Berg. I'll put a link to her original video down below in the description. The first question is, what book is on your nightstand now? I usually keep the book I'm currently reading on my desk, and that book is Addicted After All, one of the books in the Addicted series. The next question is, what was the last truly great book that you read? I can't name one book for this question, so I'll name a few. The first one I want to mention is Full Tilt by Emma Scott. This is the first book in a new adult romance duology. It follows this girl named Casey Dawson, who is the lead singer of a band called Rapid Confessions. Casey has always had a good home life, but she did something in her teen years that caused her parents to kick her out of the house, so she's been living on her own ever since. And because of that, she doesn't really have a good relationship with her parents. After a night of partying, she meets this guy named Jonah Fletcher by chance, who happens to be her limo driver. And she stays at his apartment. Jonah and Casey start to become friends, and a romance develops between them. Jonah Fletcher is a good guy. He's a guy that you can always depend on, and he's one that would do anything for you. Jonah Fletcher is running out of time though. He has a heart condition, so this book is all about what if you met the one near the end of your life. I loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to mention is Because of Low by Abby Glines. This is the second book in her Seabreeze series, and this is a new adult romance series. This book follows a guy named Marcus and his relationship with a girl named Lo. I really liked Marcus and Lo's relationship, and I'll put a link down below to my February wrap-up in case you want to hear more of my thoughts on that book. The next one I want to mention is Just For Now. This is the 4th book in the Seabreeze series, and it follows a guy named Preston and his romance with a girl named Amanda. I really liked their relationship in this book, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked this book in the series, and it's definitely one of my favorites. The last book I want to mention for this question is Sometimes It Lasts. This is the 5th book in the Seabreeze series. This book follows the characters of Cage York and his romance with a girl named Eva. At first, I wasn't warm to Cage and Eva's relationship, but this is the second book that talks about their relationship. And from this book, I could totally feel the genuine connection of these two characters and the fact that they really love each other. There are miscommunications that happen in their relationship in this book and new developments in their relationship. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This is also one of my favorites in the Seabreeze series. If you could meet any writer, dead or alive, who would it be? And what would you want to know? If I could meet any writer, dead or alive, I would have to choose Abby Glines. She's one of my favorite authors at the moment. I've read her Rosemary Beach series and her Seabreeze series. I love both series very much. I've also read her newest release called Like a Memory. This is the first book in a new series that she's writing that causes the Rosemary Beach series and the Seabreeze series to meet. This series talks about the children of the Rosemary Beach series and the Seabreeze series. So it's all about the new generation. I've also read the Vincent Boys series by Abby Glines. I didn't like the first book very much, but I did like the second book, The Vincent Brothers. I have loved nearly everything that Abby Glines writes, and she's definitely been a writer that's been on my mind lately. The question I would ask her is where she gets her inspiration from. How does she write romance that's so emotional and so heartwarming, but still fun to read about? She really is a talented writer who knows how to write romance well. The next question is, what books might we be surprised to find on your shelves? I have a few answers for this question. The first book I wanted to show you guys is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. This is a YA fantasy book. You might be surprised to see this on my shelf because I hardly ever read YA fantasy. It's a genre that I hardly ever go to, but I wanted to change that this year. I want to get into more YA high fantasy, and I know that Brandon Sanderson normally writes adult fantasy, but this is one of his only YA fantasies, so this is why I wanted to start with this one. The second book I wanted to mention is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo is a very popular author when it comes to YA high fantasy. Stealing Snow by Danielle Page is another book that you might be surprised by. It's another YA high fantasy. One of the other books that you might be surprised that I have on my shelves is Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult. Jodi Picoult is one of my most favorite authors of all time. She writes adult realistic fiction, and I own 16 of her books. I really like the way she delves deep into characters and writes character-driven stories. Another reason why I like her is because I like her writing style and the fact that she's not afraid to tackle controversial issues that not a lot of people think about. So that's why I love her as an author. I actually got to meet her at BEA in 2016 when she was there, and she signed 3 of my books. That was like a dream come true. And the last book I have for this question is Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh. This is another popular YA high fantasy series. A lot of people on BookTube talk about this book, and I think it has to do with different kingdoms and seasons. The next question is, how do you organize your personal library? I organize my personal library by genre. The next question is, what book have you always meant to read that you haven't gotten around to reading yet? Anything you feel embarrassed never to have read? Some of the books that I want to read that I haven't gotten around to reading yet are the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan, the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Anything that's popular YA high fantasy. As far as being embarrassed that I haven't read yet, I'm not really embarrassed by anything I read. The next question is, disappointed, overrated, not just good. What book did you feel you were supposed to like but didn't? For this question, I'm going to have to go with Up in Flames by Abby Glines. This is one of the books in her Rosemary Beach series, and it follows one of the main characters named Nan and her romance with 2 guys. Nan is the sister of Rush Finlay in the series. She's the bitchy character, the character that always causes trouble for the other characters in the series, and she's the character that no one really likes in the series. The reason why I didn't like this book is because this book was really insta-love. Nan starts a relationship with an undercover crime boss named Gannon and a guy named Major, whom we previously met in the series. I wanted her to end up with a different character than who she ended up with in the book, and I didn't really feel the connection that she had with Gannon. Their connection was mainly sexual, and there wasn't anything genuine about their relationship at all, in my opinion. Also, going into this book, I was expecting Nan to have some redemption with some of the other characters in the series, and for her to sort of apologize for all the mistakes that she's made, for some of the other characters in the series to finally accept her for the person that she is underneath all of the bitchy and mean front that she puts forth, and this book didn't really give her that redemption that I was expecting. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. It was a really disappointing book for me, and one that I was expecting a lot more from. The next question is, what kinds of stories are you drawn to? Any you stay clear of? The kinds of books that I'm drawn to are usually new adult romance, as of lately, as well as YA paranormal fantasy. YA paranormal used to be one of my favorite genres before I started my BookTube channel, and it still is. I'm really intrigued by YA paranormal stuff, but I haven't really read anything YA paranormal lately. I'm also getting into YA dystopian and sci-fi stuff lately, and I really like sci-fi stuff, so those are the kinds of stories I'm drawn to. The genre that I mostly stay clear of, that I hardly ever touch, is YA high fantasy, but that's something I want to change this year. I want to discover YA high fantasy and maybe move into adult fantasy, depending on how I like the genre. The next question is, if you could require the president to read one book, what would it be? I have no idea what to answer for this question. I'm Canadian, but I do watch American news. And the last question for this tag is, what do you plan to read next? The book I plan to read next is Fuel the Fire by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is one of the books in the Addicted series, and this is a book that follows Rose and Connor's POV. Those are all of the questions for this tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!